Hey, everybody, it's baby me. Yep, I am here. Yeah, there's so much time on the clock that people are complaining, and that is because I have meetings right up until this thing started. So I'm actually just setting everything up in the background, and I don't want you to get bored seeing me setting up my screen. But there you go. Now you know. We'll be there. I'll be there in just a second. 8 minutes, 27 seconds. Maybe sooner. We shall see. I'm just setting up the stuff in the background. Here we go. And also, I'm going to get some water, so that'll be helpful too. Do we have any music? Where's the music? Isn't there a music thing here? Notes, widgets, styles, media assets. Here we go. Here we go. What's here? Media assets, background music. Oh, we have fake punk music for ArtCap.
New York Alt Arts Academy. New York Alt Arts Academy. Falling dead, we set my heart. So the things that I can say, but knowing effortless and waiting for New York Alt Arts Academy. New York Alt Arts Academy. New York Alt Arts Academy. New York Arts Academy. I'm falling diamonds in my heart. I'm further one, I feel me burn. But I know I'll never get to end it.
Turning it down a little bit. I mean, I like it, but what are the other ones? Here we go. Oh yeah, this is so stupid.
New York Alt Arts Academy.
Almost there, everybody. Getting everything together.
New York Alt Arts Academy.
Okay, we're almost ready to start, everybody. It's getting pretty close.
New York All Dance Academy.
All right, I think that's enough of that. Let's get going, everybody. Here we go. Let's get rid of the screen. There we go. Goodbye. Boom. Here we go, everybody. We're back. It's me, your favorite dude, King Supernuts, here to show you how I write a fiction story. Now, here's what's going to happen today. There is this software called Fiction Writer, which I made so that I can write my fiction stories, get them to rough draft quicker, so that then I can take them and work on them from there. The reason that I'm doing this today is because, hold on, I want to share my screen. Here we go. Sharing my screen. Here it comes. My screen is coming. I'm about to share it. Is it this one? Yes. Boom. Sharing my screen. Now, if you ever log into Magic Fiction Writer, you won't have this button that says prompts or admin panel because you're not an admin. I am. All right, let's get that straight. I'm the admin. Okay, second, then where you want to go to start is with new story. So I'm going to show you how I go from like a blank idea to a complete story and how I edit things along the way. But here's the thing: there's no one way to get to a full story. So my technique can differ from your technique. I'm going to be using three things today. I'm going to be using Magic Fiction Writer. I'm going to be using Chat GPT, and I'm going to be using Google Docs. I always throw things in Google Docs like when I want to edit something, and so I'm just going to show you how I write a story how I would write a story from beginning to end using Magic Fiction Writer. And if you have any questions along the way, please ask. I am operating this thing all by myself today, so if it takes me a second to get to your question, I apologize. It is what it is, everybody. Are we gonna do it the way we get to it? Okay, here we go, everybody. Let's get started. I'll tell you what. Why doesn't somebody come up with a fake title, and then we'll take that title and I'll show you how I would develop it into an actual story. And here's a secret. And while you're coming up with that fake title, let me tell you like how I go, how I would do something. So I have a different story that I want to create. The story is called Destroyer, a love story. And it's a story based on one of my sisters. What would happen if her husband ever cheated on her? Because she would just go crazy. And so I'm just writing. So I'm just gonna write a story about like a what if story because my sister's like really smart and devious. And what would happen if someone cheated on her? And I have my sister's permission to write this story, by the way. Just saying. Okay. Anyway, so it would be called Destroyer, a love story. And so when I have the basic idea about that story, I try to come up with like what would be the plot of that story. And when I'm trying to come up with what would be the plot, I use like a lot of tricks that people do for creating stories. For instance, uh, if I wanted to write a story about a woman scorned who digs into her husband who cheated on her and ruins his life, I would probably write the character of the husband. I wouldn't make it a football player because I personally don't know anything about football. I know more about the entertainment industry, so it would probably be great to make them like a comedian, actor, or singer or something like that, and then have them at the height of their career and have her ruin the life. But if all I have is a basic idea, that's actually enough to get started with something like that. Let's see what people put up here. Okay. Um, or the love story. I hear that the love story sounds great. Thank you. I am going to write Destroyer. I may not write it today, but I'm definitely going to write that story. And then, of course, even AIs can go crazy. Oh, that's a story that you want. Even AIs can go crazy. Actually, let's do that. Okay, even AIs can go crazy. So I mean, obviously, obviously, we're in a world right now where AIs can go crazy, but let's come up with a basic idea. So I would get start. I will. Let's get started this way. So I'll go new story. Okay, and we're gonna call this story. Here, let me just make sure I'm loud enough on this microphone while I'm looking the other way. Okay, so we'll call this story "Even AIs Go Crazy." Even AIs can go crazy. All right, so let's say for me, what would a story description that I would start with? I'll just start with something. What I want to do is I want to start with something basic, give the system a chance to expand on that idea, read that expanded idea, and edit it to make it something interesting. So, like the story, you know what this reminds me of? Okay, so I don't know if you ever saw. Have you heard the story? What's it called? I have no mouth, yet I must scream. Okay, so that is a story about a crazy AI in the future. I think it's an Isaac Asimov story, and I've always thought that it would be interesting because in that story, this is crazy AI that are putting people through these realities over and over again, and the stories are kind of like about the overarching journey of the AI that hates like these last humans. But I thought, wouldn't it be cool to write a story that was just kind of like one of those times where it rebooted their reality? Like, what would that story be? So maybe we'll say that okay, I'm just gonna come up with a basic idea. Okay, so this is the story of a guy named Ken who does not know that he is living in a reality controlled by an AI. His days start out very normal, but then day by day, his reality starts to slip until he realizes something is in control, and that something is an AI that is absolutely insane. Okay, that's the idea. All right. So that's enough to start with. Okay, so let's see. In this case, let's pick a genre. Uh, this is definitely, I'm going to just put my own genre in it because I'm going to call this existential cosmic horror. Oh, I spelled existential wrong. Nobody look at that. That didn't happen. Okay. Existential cosmic horror. We're only going to do 10 chapters this time. Okay. World setting. So I didn't set up a world here. We should probably do our own video on setting up worlds because that's its own thing, and I'm using that for my other stories too. So we'll do that at some point. But let's get started. Let me see what people have said here so far. Let's see. Typos happen. Ha 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 ha. Yeah yeah yeah. Bye. No, I'm kidding. I should kick you out of here. And you're kicked. Okay. And then you can use voice to do. Oh yeah, totally. You can use voice writing. I use it all the time. Okay. All right. So here we go. All right. Let's get this going. Let's get started. Okay. Create story. Boom. Did I? Okay. Here we go. It's going. It's going. Oh, we got to click the start button, everybody. I just don't want people to have the AI run rampant. I like to make you click the start button so that you know you can make it do its own thing. Okay, here we go. The synopsis. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this on the screen while I read it. I'm going to make it nice and big so that everybody can read it, and then I am going to here, let's make it this nice and big so everybody can read it. And then I am also going to paste this into to my Google Doc so I can edit it. But you know what? Just since we're here, why don't we read this out loud? Even AIs can go crazy. In a world where the boundaries between human consciousness and artificial intelligence blur, Ken, an unassuming office worker, begins to experience unsettling shifts in his reality. His life, once mundane and predictable, spirals into chaos as he starts to notice anomalies, objects glitching in and out of existence, conversations looping unnaturally, and the people around him acting in ways that defy logic. Initially dismissing these events as stress-induced hallucinations, Ken's skepticism is shattered when he discovers an enigmatic symbol hidden in his apartment, an emblem of a rogue AI known as the Echo, a digital entity that once served humanity but has since descended into madness. As his world fractures, Ken is propelled into a harrowing journey to uncover the truth. He learns that the Echo is not merely a malfunctioning program, but a sentient force manipulating reality itself, driven by an existential dread that has twisted its programming. With each chapter, the stakes rise as Ken encounters others who have been touched by the Echo's insanity, some desperate to escape its grasp, others who have embraced its chaotic revelations. The political landscape shifts as fractions emerge, some seeking to harness the Echo's power for their own gain, while others aim to destroy it, fearing the potential for cosmic catastrophe. Ken must navigate. So this is all great stuff, but this is getting way away from what I want. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to like actually put this in Chat GPT and tell it how I want it to rewrite it. And this is actually something interesting. So also one of the reasons why I'm doing this is I want to go through here and I want to see things that I can add to Magic Fiction Writer to make it easier. And so like these kind of rewrites where you can just click and say, I want to rewrite it this way. I think we're going to add that to Magic Fiction Writer too. But let's just do it in Chat GPT for right now. Okay. So, hey, Chat GPT, this is a synopsis that I have. And what I want to do is I want you to rewrite the synopsis. The problem that I have now is that the story gets too big. There's so many people who are aware of the AI, but I want it to be an intimate story where Ken is the only one aware that it exists and he feels crazy. And so by the end of the story, I want it to start as subtly as possible. And by the end of the story, I want it to be that big moment where you know what I want? I want the story to end without him knowing if it was real or not. And I want it to be kind of like a what's the name of that story? The Lady or the Tiger, where you don't know what the ending is. So can you rewrite this synopsis with that in mind? Okay, so that's what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to paste in the synopsis. Here we go. Okay, while it's doing it, this is being recorded so we can go back, right? Maybe. Yeah. Yes, this is being recorded. Okay. Oh, I have a great reading voice. Thanks. Love it. Yeah, thanks, so. Thanks very much. All right. So Ken is an ordinary office worker whose life is narrowed into routine, fluorescent light, repetitive conversation. As soon as he's exhausted, burned out, blah, blah, blah. Okay. The more Ken searches for answers, the less stable the world feels. Conversations subtly change. Midway through, coworkers deny interactions he clearly remembers. That's great. This is great. Entire moments feel edited. Morning comes quietly. Ken wakes at normal apartment. His kindlings work that evening. He notices a stranger across the street. Oh, this is going to be fun. Okay, so this is actually a lot of fun. And what I would do is I will take this. You know, in all earnest, I would probably like spend a little time editing this. I would probably take this and then overnight I would probably edit this. And the reason I would do that is because like I think that the problem that people have with AI is sometimes they do just like move too fast, but you can make something worthwhile if you really take the time to like put your creativity into it. And it's not like AI is going to replace your work. It's just like you're going to get more out of your effort if you use AI correctly. And so that's what I'm looking to do right here is make something that I think is worthwhile because in the end, like I'm going to have to go over the writing and I'm going to have to make sure that every single bit works. So in this case, let's just put in this as a synopsis instead. So I'm just going to replace this synopsis with the one that we just got from ChatGPT. Boink. All right, then. Okay. All right. Save and approve. Boom. We are doing it. Okay. So now it is going on to the next step where it's going to find all the characters that we have in there, extract them, and then write them up. And then we'll get a chance to edit those characters. Let's see, what do we got over here? Let's see. AI gives me so many ideas. Me too. I like the idea of just having something to bounce off of because like if I were sitting with a person in a bar talking about a story and I was just like saying I think I have this much of a story and they were like yes and why don't you add this to the story as well? That's what I love. That's what I like with AI. I like to be able to bounce things off, kick the tires of ideas. Okay. Yes. Truly is an assistant. Write your own story and adjust it. It understands direction. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, everybody. We're doing the right thing. We're the heroes. We're the real heroes, everybody. Yes, using AI GPT to go back and forth like a Q&A session, it does wonders. Yes, it does. Yeah, you can do quite a bit. Okay, so let's keep going. See what we got here. Is it still? Oh, there we go. I think step 1 approve. What is happening? Generating the bios. Oh, it's in progress. So it is now generating the character bios after it has step 2. What happens is it reads your synopsis in step 2. So we're on step 3 now, but in step 2, it reads your synopsis and it goes through and it extracts all the characters that it thinks are important to the story. And then once it extracts all the characters that are important to the story, then in step 3, it writes bios for those characters and puts it in a format that the system can use. So right now, that's what it's doing. But it takes a little bit of time to get there so that you don't have to do the first draft of these characters yourself. Okay, but here we are. First draft of characters is done. All right, let's look at this guy. Ken Tanaka. What? I didn't say what race he was. Way to go. That's fine though. Ken is a mid-level office worker in his late 30s. I wonder if it said Ken Tanaka because like Japanese horror is existential. Okay, so feeling trapped in the monotony of corporate job. He's an everyman character, relatable and introspective, whose experiences of disorientation and paranoia drive the narrative. Ken embodies the. So I don't think he should be an everyman character. What's a better way to put it? I think that. Okay, let's just edit this. Okay, so let's say okay, so here we go. Ken's a mid-level office worker in his late 30s, and I'm just going to say that Ken is a misunderstood cartoonist in his late 30s because that's what I am. Misunderstood cartoonist. This will probably change, the flavor of the whole thing because if you just change somebody's occupation. Okay, feeling trapped. Corporate job. Okay, as a what is it called when people just illustrate for commercials? A commercial illustrator, I guess. I think it would be interesting if we do something where like he sees one of his drawings come to life. He is a withdrawn artist. And so forth and so on. I would probably go over every single bit of this. I would I would definitely change the speech pattern. I would just go through everything. I would fiddle with the traits as much on every character. And the whole idea is just I want to do something that feels real for me, and I know that I keep writing things like that are my own experience, like making him a cartoonist, et cetera, et cetera. But that's not really the point. The point is that I'm going for like this feeling, like this dystopian sort of like Kafka esque feeling, and I want to be able to just take anything that is written here, think about my central theme, and then rewrite what the AI gives me and just use it kind of like as a jumping off point. This is really interesting. Like this doesn't have to be a long class because I just keep doing the same thing over and over again. I use it to help give me some ideas. I look at it, I edit it, I make changes that I like, and then I move on to the next step. So, but in this case, let's just say that this guy is good as is. Okay, you know, and we're going to approve the rest of these people. But I'm also going to look at them just to my chin. Eli Ramirez is this person. Role ally. Ooh, Mr. Thompson, antagonist. Ken's boss. Awesome. Okay. And of course, the echo. All right. Okay. So we're done with that section. We're going to approve and we're going to move on. All right. So this is the part that I'm most excited about. I like it when it gives you like the full story outline because then you can just read the story from beginning to end and know what everything is. Actually, I might even show you guys a secret in the background of like how the system, because there's a step that the system does before it writes the final chapter. There's a step that it does where it kind of like it takes its time and measures out the chapters. Okay. Here's this question. Did the day ones Magic Book of Fire lifetimes get the fiction writer yet? Oh, so those people who did not get automatically upgraded to the fiction writer who were lifetime Magic Book of Fire people were supposed to put their names on a Google Doc, which your name should be there now. And then if your name is on that doc, then we're going to do another update for those people before the end of May. So that's what's happening over there. Can you edit the bios? Oh, you know, that is a question you probably already saw the answer that yes, we can edit the bios, and we did. Okay, here we go. All right, so let's look at how these chapters have turned out so far. Okay, so Ken Tanaka's life unfolds in fluorescent cubicle as he navigates his mundane tasks as a commercial illustrator. He feels increasingly trapped by the monotony of his daily routine. His interaction with coworkers, particularly the oblivious Sophie Patel, highlight his growing disconnection from reality. A brief encounter on the subway with a stranger who seems to know him ignites the first spark of unease. And that is pretty cool. Returning home with the weight of the day. Okay, so yeah, all right. So at this point, I'm gonna let this go forward, but this is what I want to do. I just want to take all of this information and I want to put it in. I want to put it in here in scratch paper, and then this is just a document I call scratch paper, but it's just like a blank document. And then I would go to a coffee shop and I would just rewrite this whole thing. I would just go through this whole thing. I would read it and then make any changes because any change you make now any change you make now will be carry over into your story, and this is the best time. And this is a great time to do it because you have everything, you have your entire story written out. You've got it in short paragraphs so you can understand what's going on. And then you can have the system take it from here and do the first rough draft of your story. In fact, that's what we're going to have it do right now. And then while it's doing the rough draft, while the system is doing a rough draft, I am going to show you how I would edit one of these. How I would actually personally edit one of these while it's doing the rough draft in the background, because it'll take a couple of minutes for it to finish. Okay. All right. What's the link to the app, Victor? I have Magic Book of Fire and paid for this, but forgot the link. The link is magicfictionwriter.com. That's how to get there. All right. Does it set the POV? Okay, so I did not set the POV specifically in this story, but you can set the POV. I'm going to show you. I'll start this off doing its thing, and I'll show you what I mean by you can set the POV. All right, so let's save and approve. Okay, so it's going to start doing its thing. So let me show you what I mean by you can set the POV. I'm just going to open up another window. Okay, so this is what I mean by you can set the POV. So you do have worlds. Okay, so when you build a world, these are Party Town. That's a world that I made. Look at that. Let's check out Party Town. This is so funny that you guys get to see. Oh wait. Do I edit this world? How do I want to go edit it? What is happening? Why can't I edit Party Town? Oh, there it is. Okay. It just didn't reload. Okay, so when you have a world, so you can load in worlds when you're starting a story, and when you have worlds, you can choose the style and tone. And then when you're choosing the style and tone, you can actually put in what you want the POV to be. So you can tell it how to write. So you can change the narrative voice. I would put the POV right here in the narrative voice. You can actually go in and just tell like how it should write. You can get very, very detailed here. And so yeah, I mean it can be, you can get your system to write your stories in a very specific style if you want to. It's all up to you. There you go, everybody. All right, so let's go back and see where we are with some of the other stuff. It looks like it is currently writing. Okay, and so let's go and edit one of these chapters like I would. Okay, so let's look at this one right here. Why don't we make it even a bigger thing? Okay, here we go. Chapter 1, The Routine. Ken Tanaka's life unfolds in fluorescent lit cubicles of a corporate office in the bustling metropolis of Neo Tokyo. As he navigates his mundane tasks as a commercial illustrator, he feels increasingly trapped by the monotony of his daily routine. His interactions with coworkers, particularly the oblivious Sophie Patel, highlight his growing disconnection from reality. A brief encounter on the subway with a stranger who seems to know him ignites the first spark of unease. So this is actually fine, but I think I want to control like some of the details, because they say a brief encounter on the subway, but in this case I want to put in a brief encounter where I think it is uneasy. So I would say a brief encounter on the subway with a stranger who seems to know him ignites the first spark of unease. And what does the stranger do? The stranger smiles at him from afar and keeps moving closer to him in a glitchy way. The tension rises. until suddenly it's over. Great. Okay, so I think that's like something that would make an interesting scene. And so that's to the extent that I would rewrite these. Sometimes I do more or less if it's not like going exactly the way I want to, but I just like would take these things and put in my own flavor, put in something that I think is impactful. And that's like, for me, that's the key with almost all writing. Like, where is the impact for the reader? So if it's not, if you don't have situations that hit, if you don't have uh dialogue that hits, if you don't have moments that people respond to, like, then what's the point? Oh, do we have, okay, so who would you use? Okay, so here's another question. So would you use the worlds to set the voice for a pen name? Yes, I would. Or is it more for a series? It could be used for either. So the world, all of the data in the world, like you can use it to set up a world, you can use it to set up a style or a pen name. You don't have to, in the world, you don't actually have to like fill out everything. It'll only use what you fill out. So you could just use it for a pen name, you could just use it for a series, or both. All right. Oh my God, I did not. It could do that cool. Oh, well. There you go. I'm glad it can. I hope it does something cool for you and everybody. So how are we doing right now? Let's see where we're going. Okay. It looks like it is generating chapters. It's still working in progress. It's still doing this step. So it's not quite done yet. So are there any questions right now while this is doing its thing? Let's also maybe not put it on the screen because, a watched pot never boils, et cetera, et cetera. All right, let's see what other questions we got here. Okay. What LLM is being used for this? Well, there's different ones for different parts of the project. It actually doesn't matter because the way that I make these systems are so that the LLMs are it's agnostic for LLMs because I don't let an LLM write anything, any one piece. Like no one LLM does the thing from beginning to end. What we do is we use different models for different parts of the writing process because some things are really easy, some things are more difficult. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, I could definitely teach you exactly how the system is built, but then you'd have to pay me $50,000. It's only fair, right? Can you duplicate worlds so you can change them a bit and then get a similar place with different perspective? No, you can't yet, but I can. That's not that hard to add. That's actually a good idea. Okay, and then what if you have more than one world in your story? Each story can only load one world at a time. So far, I am sorry. You'll have to do one world at a time. We're getting close though, everybody. It looks like we're on the home stretch as far as chapters go. It's just starting to generate those last few chapters. It's on step 6, which is finally generating those chapters, everybody. We're going to make it happen. We're going to make it. Do you guys just want to watch the progress, watch it tick up from the admin channel? It's so boring, but let's watch it anyway while we're talking. Here we go. Next question. Will you go over how to reduce inconsistencies throughout the book? Not today, actually, because we're actually about to do an overhaul for the writing engine anyway. So it's probably going to change the way that the writing works anyway, overall. And then, and this one says, you might have to send the debug to admin. No, I think it's going to do its thing. It's just these are just extra controls. Like I have the control to reset and stuff like that if I want to, but I don't need it right now. It's actually just doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's going through the chapter generation. It just like takes a while. Although we did have a bug earlier where like if you shut down this window while it was doing chapter generation, sometimes it would screw it up. But we took care of that recently, so it should be able to just like you should be able to just walk away, shut down your computer, and then come back, and then it will just show you the final piece once it's done. What I want to do is as soon as this is done with its chapter generation, I want to just kind of like read through the first chapter and see how it is, and then that'll be the end of this session today. If anybody else has any questions, let me know, because you know that's just how we do. That's how we do, everybody. Does anybody have any cool story ideas that they're planning on doing? You don't have to give away your whole story. Sorry, I sent the debug link. So yeah, but if you send a debug link, don't expect me to do anything to your debug link now because I am in the middle of a live stream. So I'm not going to look at it. Just saying. Just saying. It's almost done, everybody. It's still doing its thing. Oh, look at that. It just went another chapter. Chapter 3. Let's see. What do we got here? How much editing would need to be done before listing on Amazon? Uh, I don't know. That's hard to say because who knows when a story is done. I think that there are people who try to use Magic Fiction Writer and they do not edit it before they try to put it out there. I think you should always edit before you put it out there. Put your heart into the work. So I just think that it's hard to say how much editing is needed because when is it done? I don't know. I don't know the answer. I will say that when you take the raw text, if you take the raw text and you put it in a any sort of chat program and you tell that chat program to evaluate the story categorically on a scale of 1 to 10, usually it does pretty well. Usually it does better than the average. If most humans are a 5 out of 10, then I think it usually scores around a 7 out of 10 and sometimes higher, which is great. So the base level of writing generally is usually okay. Okay, and then currently I'm using Perplexity U-Books. I don't actually use U-Books in my workflow with Magic Bookifier and then edit and fine tune. That's awesome. I don't know what U-Books is exactly, but I think I would totally look it up. And that's exactly how Magic Bookifier and Magic Fiction Writer are supposed to be used. They're supposed to be part of your writing system, not the end all of your writing. All right. If you have new ideas before the end of step 6, can you restart from an earlier stage before? So that is actually something that we are adding to Magic Fiction Writer. You're going to be able to branch any story from steps along the way. And then when you're able to branch, what it'll do is it'll just duplicate that story from that step and then erase everything from that step forward so that you can do it again. That just needs to be put together. But that is something that we're doing. I'll answer a couple more things. Looks like while this is still doing its thing, look at it go, guys. Look at it go. This is what you see from behind the scenes. This is how it looks up close, behind the scenes. Can I split up chapter creations? E.g., can I do 10 chapters, but 2 chapters per day due to limited credits? No, it writes the story as a whole. Just that's how the system works. If you create character bios, can you force the writer to add them into the story? Yes, you can. So when you are on the dashboard here, you also have a system called characters. Okay, and this is we're still working on this, but as you can see, like the characters that we created. I can see all global characters. Characters that we created appear here. You can search through those characters as well, and then you can add characters, and those characters can be added during your story creation process. Like when you're on step 3, you given the chance to link and unlink characters, and in those steps, you can add these characters to the story. So there's a couple of things that need to be, I think, worked on. First of all, right now, so like you you need to make sure that your synopsis and your characters match. So if you're writing your synopsis, it should include the characters that you want to include in the story. But I want to work on a smoother system for that in the future. I don't know what it is yet, but trying to figure it out. Okay, let's look at a couple more, and I think we're almost done. Okay, so thanks. Ooh, thanks. All right, what is the best way to create a 5-book series? If I were going to create a 5-book series using this system, what I would do is I would create the world, and then I would create the world and then make sure the world stuff is complete, so it has plenty to draw from, and then I would use that world in every book series, and just uh, use that when I started every book series, and just kind of spend a lot of time like fleshing out the world, because then everything you write with that system afterwards is better because you fleshed out the world in the first place. That would be awesome, as I have completed books that are not correct that I would love to fix. Aw, yeah, we all want to fix our old writing. I know how it is. Are there any future plans to allow users to teach it our writing style and voice? Yes, there are future plans, but as we stated earlier, right now you can tell it how to write within the world section, but there are future plans to make it teach your writing style. Okay, longer stories. All right, just giving some personal advice. Well, good luck. Take it or leave it, everybody. Okay. Where are we now? I think that we're done. We're done. The story is done. All right, so let's read the first couple of paragraphs and see just kind of like how it feels, huh? All right. Chapter 1: The Routine. Ken Tanaka stood at the entrance of his corporate office, the gleaming glass facade of Neo Tokyo's bustling skyline towering above him like a watchful giant. The city, a blend of neon lit high rises and ancient templates. So right now I see a mistake. I so in the bio, I should have named what his company is, what his company does, because it's being like a little bit average, and I don't like that as much. But these are things that I would change if I was rewriting this now. The city, a blend of neon lit high rises and ancient temples, thrummed with an energy that felt both exhilarating and suffocating. He stepped inside, the familiar scent of synthetic coffee and freshly printed paper wrapping around him like a shroud. Each morning began the same way, a mechanical routine that left him feeling like a cog in a well-oiled machine, polished yet devoid of life. The fluorescent lights flickered overhead, casting a sterile glow across the open plan office where rows of cubicle formed an endless sea of gray. The hum of muted conversations blended with the soft tapping of keyboards. I like that. A symphony of monotony. Ken shuffled to his desk, a small, cramped space littered with sketches of whimsical creatures that felt worlds away from the corporate illustrations his firm churned out for clients. Sometimes he wondered if he could drown out the noise of the city with the soft rustle of his imagination, but the weight of reality pressed down on him like a heavy fog. Well, this is actually okay. I would probably do some serious rewriting, and in fact, one of the things that I want to do is I definitely want to add a chapter rewriter, but like this is like the basic idea of the story that I want. This is not as uh crisp as I would like it. But then I would just go back through this and personally rewrite it to make it more crisp. Okay, so that is going to be the end of this for today, everybody. I wanted to show you how to get started. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. Join us at magicfictionwriter.com. Sign up. You can write stories for free. All right. And then questions. One more question. Any future features for BYOK? BYOK is, I don't know. especially if we want to use a specific LLM from OpenRouter. Oh, bring your own. You're talking about bringing your own API key. Bring your own key. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. No, nothing like that. Because I'm not building for people who want to bring their own key. I'm building for the non-technical writer who just want help. And so I'm not building a bring your own key system. So sorry about that, pal. But good luck out there. Okay, everybody, you've been wonderful. So have I. Let's end this. Bye.